Hey everyone, Steve here from Big Head Tech, and if you saw my last video, you will have seen that the gap between these two cards, when overclocked and undervolted, from a performance and a thermal standpoint, closed to the point where this is close enough to be a solid recommendation for color scheme or if the pulse isn't available. But how do you buy a card like this and replicate these results? Well, I'm glad you asked. Today I'm going to show you the method that I used to relatively safely and effectively get more performance and reduce thermal headroom. And we're also going to look at increasing thermals to see if you get more performance out of that. I actually don't know if you do or not. I actually didn't test that prior, but today we are going to find out. So in order to undervolt effectively, what we want to do is first get a baseline. So we're going to open Radeon Settings here. Go to Gaming, Global Settings, Global Wattman. The reason why I use Global Wattman is if we use MSI Afterburner, you'll quickly see very fast with the flickering why we don't use it. And it's quite annoying. So yeah, we don't want to use MSI Afterburner for that reason. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to see, we don't want to make any changes. I am going to turn the fans up to what AMD recommends. And then we have GPU Z, so we're actually going to close that. We're going to open a new variant. We're just going to have the sensors go to max. So what are the highest readings? Ideally, we're in an ambient of like 23 right now. I would really like to see these not go above 90. But we're going to open up superposition here. And we're just going to do a quick run through. We want to get a baseline of what the card will do at stock. So I'm going to do 1440p, motion blur off. So this is what I normally run when I run superposition. It's just my preference. I try to run similar settings to what I do in a game. So we're going to go ahead and run this here. And we're going to get a baseline of where everything falls in at. From temperatures, the megahertz, going to core and memory, and even voltage. Take a look at temperatures, and they're okay. Not saying they're great, but so 63.99 is our baseline score. And the only thing I didn't set was voltage. So just remember these. And actually, let's open up an Excel sheet here. So we do want to look at highest speeds again for everything. And we also want to take a look at temperature this time. So go ahead and set all these up, and also then voltage. Actually, no, we need to stop this. We need to open Radeon Settings here. There we go. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Auto Undervolt. We're going to hit Continue and Apply. At least it should, yep, there we go. It tells me 956. Now, I'm actually going to undo this because I want to keep the fan profiles the same. So what we're going to do is set these, and then we're going to want to adjust this, and then just bring this down to, what was it, 956? So we're not going to touch anything else. We want to go ahead and now open superposition. Oh, we also want the score. So superposition score. Perfect. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run this again. And we are almost done with the benchmark here. And we've seen 17 of 17. So again, another scenario where this didn't crash. So that's good. And we technically lost a few points, but I mean, you could run this over and over again and probably get different numbers all around. So GPU temp dropped 2 degrees, hotspot dropped 4, memory temp dropped 2, and VRM temp dropped 2. The voltage capped at a little bit over what was set, and that would be 962 millivolts and 69 or 6393. Now I'm gonna put power from the wall. I'm going to rerun this at stock, so you guys do see this. So I don't know what it's going to be for everything else, but regardless, now we want to close this, and now we know where this is set to, so we're going to reset. Not fun, but well. All we want to do is go to Auto Overclock GPU, hit continue, apply, and it will tell us what it recommends overclocking the GPU to, which is 1830. Okay, let's reset that. Yes. We want to turn on speed and temp, and we want to change this. So we're going to move this to 1830, and then we need to get that 957 perfect. And then we are going to increase power target. However, for my testing, at least what GPU-Z reports, that doesn't do anything, unfortunately. So now we have the voltage set at 957. We have the core clock set at 1830, and this is the AMD recommended fan curve with the power limit up to 20%. Now we're going to open a new session of GPU-Z, and we are going to monitor. We want to look at core clock. We'll look at memory clock, not that that should really change anything. All the maximum temperatures. And then we want to look at voltage to see if that changes, and we're going to get power draw as well. That being said, it just reads 140 regardless. And let's go ahead. That was without overclocking. That was just a different run variant. Let's go ahead and run one with the core clock overclocked and see what kind of results we get and if it's stable. We have some good news. No crashes. Well, the benchmark's not over yet, but still, nonetheless, no crashes. And let's see what our results are. 1626. So we can safely say that when we undervolt plus core OC, we gained enough to actually say it worked. So first things first is core clock only went to 1772. That is something to note, and that's something that I have experienced with all my testing. Memory obviously didn't move at all, because we didn't touch the memory. GPU temp 73. The hotspot moved up a little bit. Memory stayed the same. VRM moved up a little bit. We have... oh, that's average. That's why. Let's show highest. There we go. 962 and 6626. Perfect. And then this was 144. Now, what we're going to do is undo this, and we're going to see memory. But we're also going to keep the current overclock. Okay, so we're going to auto overclock memory. Hit continue and apply. And let's see what it recommends. 930. Now, from experience, I know many cards cannot hit 930, but mine did, so that was good. So we're going to increase this to 1830. We're going to reduce the voltage to 957. Oh, perfect. Got it. Not touching again. Turn that up and turn this up to 930. Now, this is a little optimistic. I know that I need at least another 13 millivolts to bump this up to 1850. I don't know if the memory is going to take, but we will still try nonetheless. Let's close GPU-Z and open up a new session. Okay, let's see. Memory's already running where we need it to be, so that's good. Oops. We want maximum temperature for everything. And then I'm still going to do this over ambient just so everybody knows when you guys see the final charts. And let's go ahead and run. Last scene, I am actually surprised. I really did not expect it to crash. I mean, this isn't the test you should run, but I really expected it to crash. So, 6712, that is, in my opinion, a high enough increase to say this worked. So 1772, 1860, and then looking at the temperatures here, we have 72, 82, 78, 69. Voltage was again 962 and 140. Oh, 46, and this was 12. So the only thing we have left to do is two things. We're not going to reset anything at this point. We're simply going to change this and hit apply. And from my remembering, it wasn't quite stable at this low. But if it is, I would do additional testing. You should do quite a bit of testing and then run some games and just make sure it is stable. But we're going to go ahead and, well, actually, let me save this before I forget. So we're going to browse. We'll put this in documents or Undervolt in. Perfect. We're going to restart GPU-Z. See where the GPU actually ran. So this says it capped out at 1772, and that's probably pretty accurate. There looks to be so this says 1760 something. There might have been a spike around here that was 72. Definitely possible. So you just want to make sure it's within, you know, margin of what you would expect. So we're going to do highest, 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 max, max. Turn this all the way up. Check voltage again, and power draw. So that's everything we need. And let's see if we get a little bit of a better score. Did not crash, surprisingly. Actually, someone expected it to be honest, but you may have to tweak the voltage. So we did go up a little bit, so that is good. Let's take a look at our results. So we did hit, it says 1790. Let's see. This says 1787, so they're both pretty close. We'll take GPU-Z since we've been doing that the entire time. 1860, 73, 82, 78, 70. And then voltage capped at 962 again. This was 67, 57, and 146 respectively. Now, I have one more test to show you, and what that is we're going to move us up to stock voltage, which is, I think it's, well, it's 6, but we'll do 7, essentially. And we're going to see if this does anything. Because undervolting is nice, but if you're leaving performance on the table, then maybe it may not be the best idea, depending on, you know, your configuration setup. So let's go ahead and set all these up to max. Basically, we're looking to see if we get much higher temperatures, higher power draw, higher clock speed, and higher scores, essentially. So here we go. And there. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, and we're going to see what happens. And it really didn't do much. Yeah, so that's margin of error. This still says 1787. This says 1788. So technically, we dropped, but I'm not going to say that that's outside margin of error. But what's interesting, though, is temperatures went up quite a bit. 74. Voltage went to 1012. Score was 67, 61, and power draw was 161. Now, we're going to do one more final video, then we'll talk about the results here. The last one we want to do is, we don't want to kill the card, but we're going to increase the voltage to maybe right around like 1052. And the reason why is we just want to see if that does anything for performance. Don't really think so. Actually, have not done this yet. AMD allows it to go up to 1.2, and honestly, most of their testing has been relatively safe, but yeah, we're not really interested in killing anything today. So we're going to do a modest overvolt of basically 40 millivolts just to see if we see any change whatsoever. So I'm just setting up GPU-Z here. Perfect. Move us to the side. Okay, that's set, that's set. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Technically it went higher, I guess. Yeah, it went up by 10 points. But let's see what we gave up. So it said 1791. This moved up 2, so that's good. Look at those temps. Look at the power draw. Yeah, so let's get all this in here. 60, 79, 93, 84, 78, This was 1056, 1672, and 174. Wow. I'm going to run everything at stock here, give you the power draw, and that will be it. So this chart's what we're going to focus on. I took these readings minus ambient to get over ambient here. Stock means everything's stock. The rest are voltages, undervolt, overvolt, and stock voltage. That's relevant for this test right here. At stock, remember we got a hair over or under 1700 megahertz. GPU is just a hair over 50 degrees. Hotspot is a hair over 60. Memory was in the mid 50s, and the VRM was mid to upper 40s. And we scored a 63.99, and the power was 138. Now, when we undervolted without changing the speeds or anything, we did lose a little bit on the score. Probably just a hair over margin, but it's pretty close. But we did get lower temperatures, so we dropped the GPU temp by 2, hotspot by 4, memory by 2, VRM by 2. So from a raw performance, that's worth it. Now, when we upped the core to 1830 while keeping the same 957 millivolts, we did increase the core clock by about 80 megahertz. So we didn't get to the 1830, but we did increase it by 80. And the temps are still better than what the stock showing was. So that's awesome, because we ended up getting a better score of about 2.25 higher, only 4 watts more of power draw. So we got lower temps, better performance. When we add the max memory overclock, now this is the max core, but we add max memory overclock, that gave us another 90-ish points. Temp was still across the board either the same or less than stock. So now we're about 300 and just a hair over 300 points higher. The power draw is about 8 watts more, but we're getting better temperatures. Interesting. Now we go for the max of everything. The max AMD will let us do. We get another 40 points, so we're about 350 points higher. We are still lower than what we got from stock across the board, the same or lower, so these two were the same. The GPU and hotspot are still lower than stock, and we got a nice increase. Now, what we did here and here was just to make sure that undervolting wasn't hurting our performance, and clearly it wasn't. This is a little bit higher than margin of error, but for me, the added thermals, so now we're 5 degrees over stock, 9 degrees over stock, 6 degrees, and 8 degrees over stock temperatures. So adding voltage makes no sense. The minimal gains, assuming this is slightly above margin of error, here, we'll figure it out here. So we'll do equals this divided by this. So we're looking at 0.022, so less than 1% increase, I think. Yeah, let's actually look at that from here. So yeah, so very little increase, very little all, not worth it. But that is essentially how you undervolt and get better performance. The one thing I will say this is you want to do additional testing like Firestrike. I really wouldn't run firmware because that's just going to run unneeded load, to be 100% honest. But I would continue to run to make sure the voltage is enough to keep it stable. If it isn't stable, increase it by about 10 to 15 points until you hit about stock voltage. Hopefully you won't have to go that far to get it stable. But once you get stable, maybe back it off 5, or if you increased it by 15, maybe 10, and see if that's stable. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So there it is. I kind of wish I would have did this before, but now that I got the results, I'm happy I didn't, because they were taking a lot longer. But I'm very glad to see that even on these RX 5700 cards that you can get better performance by overclocking, and overclocking as far as AMD is going to let you do it, as well as reducing the voltage to reduce thermals. And that's just never a bad thing. Running cooler is never going to be bad, as long as you can get it stable. Now, a couple disclaimers. When you mess with this, you do risk damaging the card, while AMD on this particular series of cards keeps it pretty tight, where you really can't up the voltage that far, although I wouldn't recommend going anything past, honestly, stock, just to be safe. But frequencies, hit the ceiling. Now, it's also important to note that this card, the pulse, would not go past 915 on the memory. But this card went all the way to 930. So just be careful. Do things one step at a time. Keep an eye on thermals. Just be very wary of voltage. Don't start messing with voltage too high. Going lower just might make it unstable and crash. Going higher is usually where the fear is of damaging anything. So hopefully you liked this video and liked what I did for everybody today, and hopefully you learned a lot. I know I did. I'm really happy with the results. And if you want to buy this card or this card, they're both recommended. Links in the description below. I'm actually selling this card because I just got a MSI RX 5700 Mech OC, and I did it because the cooling plate's different than the Evoke OC. It shouldn't have that problem, fingers crossed. So other than that, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you dislike, leave a comment, get subscribed, and as always, this is Steve from Big Head Tech, and I'll see y'all later on down the road.